How's it going, y'all? I'm about to show you guys about an hour and a half long movie of a trip that me and my father did this summer. We took our two motorcycles all the way up to the Arctic Ocean and back. It was an adventure. I vlogged every single day, didn't miss a single day, and the adventure itself was like way more crazy in person. The videos don't do justice, but y'all can get an idea of what our trip was like. So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and you guys enjoy. So my dad wants to do this trip to this place called Tuktoyaktuk. It's in the top of Canada, it's in the Arctic, and yeah, it's way up there. So I'm gonna be filming it, and I want you guys to come along as well. Here we're packing up the bikes and saying goodbye to family. I'm kissing the camera goodbye as my brother films us. Thank you, Jackson. And we hit the highway for the very first time. A couple first days, we'll have a little bit of more highway days. But then we realized it was starting to rain, so we pulled over, got some gas, and I looked like a turtle because I'm wearing a backpack, but I had to put something over my backpack. And we were right, it rained just for a little. Me and Dad at our second stop, the best stop ever. Fuck these. The true man's best stop. The brisket he used to die for. Brisket was very good, just letting you guys know. Then we pull into the barber where something unexpected happens. Yeah, I'll explain. Basically, I ran into the back of my dad. I knocked him over flat on the ground like a pancake. Not a flex, but we're all okay. Just some parts fell off of our bikes. It's all cosmetically, nothing mechanically. So we'll just get back to the story now. Sorry, Dad. The Barber Museum has more than 900 motorcycles on display at a time, and the collection itself has 1,600 motorcycles in total. That was my first time there and my first time crashing, so many new experiences were happening today. There was on Milo's, we completely demolished it. Milo's sauce is the best. We drove right past Birmingham as we made our way up to Memphis. Hit the gym, can't skip any of those days. Took a dip in the pool, you already know. Then me and my dad went to Huey's for some dinner. I got the chicken tender basket, and then we played some musical bingo, and that basically wrapped up day one. Well, we were supposed to leave at 7:30 and wake up at 6:45, and it's 8:45, and we might be here till 11 because it was pouring. So that's fun. And we made it fun. Of course, we hopped back right in the pool. It's heated. It was fun, and I brought my dad, so that's even a plus. We then hopped right back on the bikes, kicked up the kickstands, and headed right towards Arkansas. We crossed the Mississippi River. There's a little glimpse of Memphis. And then we were stuck in traffic. A lot of traffic today. For some reason, there was like 2 semis off the road. Did you see this one right here? I don't even know how this would happen. Another one was an Amazon truck. It was completely off the road. That one-day shipping was stretching a little too far. And then, don't mind us, do not try this at home. There was a complete standstill, and we just kind of backtracked just a little, just far enough to make it to Arkansas 70. We're eating at, what's the place called? Tortugas Mexican Grill in Carl Isle, Arkansas. I got Cancun nachos with chicken, steak, and shrimp. They look very, very good. And my dad got a shrimp quesadilla. All was good. Our lunch fueled us for the amazing Ozark roads of Arkansas Scenic 7. Too many roads to show, but it's okay. We were gonna have some pie and some cider at this place at the Cliff House Inn. It's at the Grand Canyon of Arkansas Grand Canyon. Pretty breathtaking. It was kind of a bummer that place was closed, but the rest of the day was gorgeous and flawless. The roads, the weather, it was just amazing. After a lot of riding in the Ozarks, it brought us right to our hotel, where we did our first African laundry. We gotta clean those clothes somehow. All right, we made it into the room. We'll be staying 3 nights, and just saying this will be the last trip video until we leave Fayetteville because I have school orientation, and that'll be pretty boring for you guys. So we'll be picking it up when we head more north to Nebraska. Just to wrap up our day, here's my first time trying curry. I had an avocado chicken curry. It was delicious. Also, the first video, day one, took like 5 hours to edit. I've never edited before, so I'm just trying to figure out everything, so please be patient with me. But from now on, the videos should be consistent every night. And here's our route for the day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, day 3 of the trip. Me and my dad are packing up. Got beautiful, foggy Fayetteville right here. And it's our longest day today on the highway. So let's get into it. And FYI, I don't even see the damage anymore, so I don't know what you guys are freaking out about. We turned back on the interstate, we'll be for most of the day, and we headed towards Missouri, where we drove mostly from all the way south to the very northwest corner of it. And we caught back up with the fog that we saw in the morning, so it was kind of hard to see for a little. We were at a Casey's a couple miles off the highway, getting our second fill up of the day. Got our breakfast as well. And there's the man himself. Thanks for breakfast, Dad. Sure. We also passed amazing glaciation in the amazing state of Missouri. Who would have thought? Also a lot of corn. Like, a lot of corn. I didn't know there's so much farmland in this country. We then passed Kansas City, Missouri, and we did not get barbecue, but we also got a pretty good lunch though. We are in Rockport, Missouri. We're having lunch at Cafe and Steakhouse. I got an In-N-Out BLT. My dad got a, what's it called? Brat sandwich?
No, it's brisket. Brisket and grilled cheese.
Brisket and grilled cheese sandwich.
Rockport or something?
Rockport.
It's called the Rockport.
So, I'll let you guys know how it is. Lunch was so good that I actually forgot to let you guys know how it is. So here's me telling you later that day that it was so good. My butt was kind of hurting, so I started to do some rock climbing for some exercises, you know. We then crossed state borders into Iowa, which also led us into my newest state ever, Nebraska. I've never been to Nebraska, and it was exactly what I thought. Just a bunch of farmland. Got pretty cloudy, and actually got pretty cold in the cloud with all the wind, but we eventually made it to Keeneland, Nebraska, and I was almost out of gas. We made it to Keeneland, Nebraska. I know I still have my helmet on. I'm actually gonna go get a haircut because my hair's been a little wild, and I think I'm gonna get a mullet. So I guess we're all gonna see that right now. Mullet completed. I like it. So also shaved off the beard, got the stash and the mullet. We're at Sakura, Japanese restaurant. We got shrimp teriyaki, avocado roll, and California roll. We're gonna grab. And that wraps up day 3. That's day 3 now. 3 done. I got it up in one day. So we're gonna keep rolling. Tomorrow we end our day in Sturgis, South Dakota. And it's also kind of a long day. But you guys will see it tomorrow. Peace out. It is 56 degrees in Kearney, Nebraska. It's actually a little chilly. So I'm wearing a sweatshirt. Probably to strip a layer in a little bit because it's gonna get warm. Whoa. Did I know you can make breakfast? And uploading day 3 delayed us about an hour and 30 minutes. I don't know why it took so long, but it's okay. We hopped right back on the interstate and we headed northwest onto US 385. We also crossed the river into Ogallala, and we traveled through a lot more plains. Who knew that in northwestern Nebraska, there were rolling hills that honestly looked like South Dakota already, which is the next state that we hit. So, and this train was being lame and did not honk for us. But on a serious note, Nebraska actually has so much to offer. It was really pretty, and it honestly made the day a lot more enjoyable. Here's a sneak peek of how many bugs are just on my visor. I'll show you guys. We pull into Chadron, Nebraska, where we have lunch. And yeah, here's my helmet. It's pretty nasty. Here's our lunch, and I bought my dad lunch because it is Father's Day, of course. And then we ran into a slight problem. I felt my chain hitting it against the bike or something, and it's super ironic because last year I got a new chain with a kink in it from Rapid City, which we're pulling up to right now. So it's just kind of ironic timing, but we're gonna figure that out all out tomorrow. So we don't really know what the problem is, but the chain is a little loose and it's been
hitting itself. It's not been a comfy ride. So we're gonna take it in tomorrow, and we also made it to Sturgis, where we'll be staying at.
Here's my bike pre-pressure wash, and you'll see the afterlook in a
Just
sec.
freshened up a little. We're about to do a load of laundry, which is much needed from orientation, and we're just gonna chill out for the rest of the day.
All right, we're gonna go for a quick ride around the roads here. We got 6 of us, 5 of us. It's gonna be fun.
Southeastern South Dakota just has so much to offer. You'll see what it's like tomorrow.
We're at the Sturgis City Brewing, and here's where we're gonna eat dinner, and you'll see a couple pics, and that's basically gonna wrap up the day.
We parked up the bikes after dinner, we chilled out for the night, and here's the route for the day. See you guys for day 5.
All right, it's 7:45. Me and my dad are headed to Rice's Rapid Motorsports to get my chain problem diagnosed. We don't really know what the problem is yet, but we're about to find out.
And here's our clean looking bikes. They won't be clean for too long. And basically in our backyard of where we're staying, there's a road called Vanocker Canyon Road. It's basically 17 miles of pure joy. And here's a quick little music montage of it. While my bike was getting chain service done, we took a look at the Triumph dealer in the shop, saw some nice looking bikes, and me and my dad just kind of fooled around for a bit. But we were very bored and there was nothing fun to do. Obviously, we were just having a miserable time.
All right, chain service is done. Look at that nice clean chain. You can already tell it's a little lubed up, and it's tight now. So,
Had to make sure the bike was working well, so. Here's my KG Spätzle.
we're in Hill City. As you just saw, we ate a feast at Alpine Inn restaurant. It's a German place. We're so stuffed. I think we're gonna go ride by a lake, and I'm gonna go jump in and I'll film that on the GoPro, so y'all will see that in 1 second.
It's just so green in southwestern South Dakota. We basically rode roads like that all day, and you can just see the plains, the trees. It's just a different vibe you get in this area, man. And we took a little pit stop in Spearfish Canyon. And
Take a little dip in the creek, because why not?
the water was just so clear and actually pretty cold. And this canyon was just breathtaking as well, as you can see. We then decided to stop at Full Throttle Saloon. It's the biggest biker bar in the world during the rally here in Sturgis, South Dakota. It was pretty cool, and we just got some refreshments as we headed back on the way home. I got my favorite, the crab stuffed mushrooms. Those things are so good, and a flatbread. And here's the sunset for the day, man. Breathtaking.
I'm finishing up my load of laundry here. We're basically wrapping it up in Sturgis. Tomorrow we end in Great Falls, Montana. And I'm gonna try to find some waterfalls for me and my dad and for you guys to see. So today was a great day. Best day of the trip so far. So many great roads and just smiles all around today. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
After me and my dad packed up the bikes, we left Sturgis and headed straight west for Wyoming. From there, it already got pretty intense. Here, I'll explain in this next clip for you guys.
3 miles now. 0.0. We've had our flashers on. We've been going 65 on an 80-mile-an-hour highway for 30 miles. And we pulled into the gas station. Oh my god, that timing.
I was basically ready to pull over on the side of the road for 20 minutes as my dad came back and got me. But we put on some rain gear and we rode through the rain. It was pretty wet and it was just a little bit of what we were going to be experiencing today. We rode up through the twisty roads of Bighorn Canyon National Forest. And this view looking down on the plains of Wyoming was just spectacular. We're like 6,000 feet up in the air right now, and we're still climbing. And all was going well until we headed into the clouds. And it was super foggy, and it was doable. You know, it wasn't raining yet, and, you know, just we had to slow down a little bit. But then it got worse. It started raining, and the fog got way worse. We literally couldn't see more than 20 or 30 feet in front of us. It was pretty bad, but it even got even worse.
My phone can see it's basically snowing. Can't see anything. My dad's adjusting his glasses because he got fog in his. My Oakleys are holding up with keeping the water out for now, but it's so cold. Yeah, gotta power through it.
And it was basically sleeting or freezing rain. Our visors had to be open because it would fog up. And it was a lot, but we made it down. And we crossed the Bighorn River, which also sculpted this beautiful canyon, which me and my dad have never heard about. I mean, it made the whole day worth it. It was all a detour for this view. So, great experiences and great memories were made in that fog. And I even learned how to not drop my gloves in Montana. So that was fun. We had to go back like a couple miles, but no biggie. We boarded the crazy mountains of Montana for 3 or 4 hours. It rained on us. It was sunny for a little bit. It was just straight riding for like 5.5 hours.
My dad made it to the room. We're going to the Sip and Dip bar. Sip happens. That's the saying. I guess so. We just took some showers, warmed up. Still kind of cold. My face is so red from being cold all day. But finally dry.
Had some drinks with my dad. That's always a good time. And we watched The Mermaid in the Sip and Dip bar. That's what makes it unique. And more bars need to have cool stuff like this, because it was just really neat, and it was pretty fun too. And here's our monstrous ride today. It's probably my biggest ride ever on a motorcycle. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Good morning from Great Falls, Montana. I know my hair looks like Jimmy Neutron. Working on uploading the video right now. It's gonna be out a little late today. We just got back to the hotel last night and I started editing it, and we were both so pooped from the long day yesterday. But I'm 0 for 1 for Glacier. Today's the day that I finally get to go to Glacier National Park, so let's hit it.
At the Sip and Dip in the morning, we washed our bikes. They had a little bike cleaning station. You know, gotta keep the bike clean. Well, not for too much longer. We also saw the Black Eagle Falls. It ran right through the Great Falls, so we had to make a quick little pit stop. And then we headed towards Glacier National Park. As we got closer and closer to the park, you could already tell the mountains were getting just way more dramatic than they usually were.
We finally made it. We're about to find out if we can finally go in after 2 years. Let's get in this.
And we got in with ease. Last year, we were very disappointed to be sent back home, so I'm very happy that we got in. And here's probably my favorite picture of the day. It's before the clouds really rolled in, and you'll see that right here in this next clip.
It's snowing. I don't know if y'all can tell. We're gonna head through the rest of going through the Sun Road. It looks pretty foggy and snowy like yesterday, but let's hope it just doesn't get that bad. You can maybe see it.
Even though we were now cold, wet, and damp, the park itself was still spectacular. It was everything I wanted it to be. So green, so lush. All the mountain tops are so jagged. It's just something you don't see every day. So definitely something I can check off my bucket list. And then we finally arrived to our tent. Yeah, we were gonna spend the night in the tent, basically camping. You'll hear, I'll explain in this next clip.
We made it to Trago, Montana. We made it to our tent for the night. No AC. We're gonna build a little fire later in it. There's a little chimney. Keep warm. We're gonna build a fire. There's a hammock. Definitely pretty remote out here. We're like 10 miles away from any real road to get anywhere. And we're gonna go explore. There's a creek, and all the wildlife out here has been here too. Grizzlies, moose, elk, deer, bald eagle, badger. Yeah, well, hopefully we don't see any.
And this is literally where we slept. My dad's on the king, I'm on the bottom bunk. And we met up with Bambi.
Passing us now.
Yep. Me and Dad are beat. We're just gonna chill by the fire, probably make one inside in the fire stove and get to bed. We're beat.
Alrighty, we are heading up to Canada today. We are leaving Trigo, Montana. My phone basically fried. I don't know how. You'll see in the next video updates on that. But I got to cross into Canada for the very first time in my life, and it won't be the last after this video. I mean, y'all are going to be getting spoiled for this video because the rest of the trip will not look like this. And somehow, in some way, after a couple minutes of hard interrogation, I was let in to freaking Canada. And I mean, I'm already stunned by this view. You got rivers, you got mountains with snow, you got alpine trees, you got friendly people, you got amazing views. We pulled over to the side of the road after we crossed a creek, got these nice jagged peaks, and you can already tell the water is crystal clear down here, and it doesn't even stop there today. We went through Kootenay National Park. It's about 105 kilometers. Yes, we're using kilometers now, without cell service or any gas. And we actually almost ran out of gas again, but we didn't. But as we inched closer to the Banff Mountains, almost running out of gas, we saw this rock that looked like it was chucked into the earth by God. It was so jagged, it just dropped off on the other side. I mean, my favorite rock of the day. But we filled up with gas, and we headed right back up to Banff National Park. My dad told me that he seen this mountain in a child book, like best places to visit. So that was pretty cool.
All right, we made it to Emerald Lake in Banff National Park. We're gonna grab some lunch, and it's finally warming up just a little bit. I'm trying to take off my sweatshirt. You can just see how blue the water is. It's crazy.
I mean, this video is not edited. The water is actually this crystal clear. The mountains look better in pictures, but the water actually looks pretty much that color. And anytime I talk to the camera now, like in person, is when I'm filming on my dad's phone, because remember, I still don't have a phone. But we head our way up to Peyto Lake, which was my favorite part of the entire trip so far.
This has got to be one of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen. Look at that.
My dad's a traveler, and he's seen a lot of good sights throughout his life, and he said this pretty much tops it. So I'm so grateful that I can be sharing this moment with him, and I even teared up a little bit because it was just so beautiful. We had a scheduled Banff gondola ride at 7:10, so we had to rush back down to Banff, and none of these pictures will ever do justice. You have to see it for yourself.
More pictures or videos really capture the depth of the mountains and the valleys. It's really something.
One of my regulars that I served at Ola, the place I used to work, basically gave me $100 so he could buy me and my dad those lift tickets. So we had to stop, and it was so worth it. And that wraps up this spectacular day. I don't know how this could top it, but we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Good morning from the beautiful town of Banff. Slept like a rock. Let's get this day started. We're heading to Edmonton today, and we got some repairs to do. This is the other side of my favorite rock that I was talking about the other day of the mountain. Made just a complete drop off. But we passed the outskirts of Calgary and we headed north towards Edmonton. Nothing too excited, and here's a little sneak peek of my tires that I'm putting on later. Putting on knobbies for the dirt roads, you know what I mean? We're in Ponoka. We grabbed a quick snack to fuel up for the ride. We're like 2/3 of the way to Edmonton. Early morning, got some jerky, and we got an appointment at the Apple store because, you know, my phone is no longer here with me. And that's it. We're already in Edmonton. Pretty short day, but we had a long and exhausting afternoon in front of us. We then pulled into the West Edmonton Mall for my iPhone repair, and this mall had everything. It had a whole row for dining in, it had an ice rink, it had a surfing area, it had a water park, and every store you can imagine. We're in the West Edmonton store. We're going to the Apple store to either fix my phone or possibly get a new one because we're about to be away from any Apple store for the next week and a half. So I kind of want/need a phone. So. And basically once we got there, my phone wouldn't turn on anymore. They got it on and then it just shut off and it wouldn't turn back on. Got no trade-in value, but we got a new phone. So we had to do what we had to do. We then went to the Argyle Motorsports for some appointments for our bikes. We just got word that my chain and sprocket is basically shot. Even though we got it serviced in Rapid City, it's just really damaged, and we're ordering one right now, and we're coming back here on the 5th, but we have to ride 4,000 miles on it. So we're looking around town to see if there's any others, but not the greatest news. All right, here's the Tiger. They even cleaned her up for me, thank God, because it was getting pretty bad. And we got my knobbies on, got a new chain on,
but not sprockets. Basically, we have to come back in a week to get a new chain and sprocket. Otherwise, we weren't going to make it up to Tuck and back. And we've been here for 4 hours. I mean, just a lot of good timing today, because if this was a day later, I wouldn't have anything to ride on. And after a lot of waiting, we headed back to the hotel and just crashed for the night. And that's basically going to wrap up the day. I'm starting to edit today's video right now. Finally getting caught up because I have a new phone, and it was a shorter video to make. There wasn't too much to show, just basically an update day and until we leave, some civilization. But we'll be back in Edmonton in about 10 days or something to get another service on our bikes and have the home stretch on the way home. But we'll see you guys tomorrow. Good morning from Edmonton. I'm uploading my last video of 2. I'm finally caught up on videos since we have good Wi-Fi and I have a phone, and basically a whole reset. We might go grab some Starbucks to wake up, and we got a very entertaining day to Dawson Creek. Fueling up as we just put on the tank bag, because we're gonna be riding a couple hours without no stop, so gotta fuel up.
And here's our view for most of the day. It's a lot of farmland, lots of flat plains, nothing too exciting. Here's a cool wooden train track that we saw. You don't really see that these days. And we passed some burnt down forest that probably only happened a week or 2 ago. We could still smell the fire, but at least it's not happening right now. Then we got some lunch. I had a Monte Cristo and my dad had a mushroom burger with Swiss. And then after lunch, we hit the road again. Nothing too eventful happened. We saw some clouds bubbling. You know, that's pretty cool.
Woo! We needed these. It's 80 degrees in Grand Prairie, and why couldn't we not have this weather? I thought it would be colder here than in like Montana, because we went through snow and it's hot. I feel like I'm in Kansas right now.
We passed this monstrous beaver, so I had to grab a quick video of that. Had to kill some time, and then we started to arrive into Dawson Creek, the suburbs of it, and it was starting to rain, but we made it before it rained. And you know, since it's warm again, I'm hitting a lot more bugs than rain. So there's my visor. We had some dinner. We picked up some bento boxes. That wraps it up.
All right, and that's gonna wrap up today's vlog of the trip. And we are now in Pacific time, so we gained an hour. So it's earlier than we even wanted it to be. We're just gonna chill. We're gonna have some snacks. I'm gonna watch some YouTube, and we're gonna catch up on sleep as well. And not the most fun day, a little dull. Same thing tomorrow, but the next couple days after that should be very interesting and fun. But we'll see you guys tomorrow.
We're leaving Dawson Creek. We're gonna go stop at the Alaska highway sign. It's the time we're getting on that, and I'll talk about that and let you guys know what it is too. And let's hit the road.
In 1942, President Roosevelt sent 11,000 soldiers in the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to build this monstrous highway of 16,000 miles that stretches all the way from British Columbia, southern Yukon, and into Alaska. It was needed to be built by the struck of Pearl Harbor during World War II, so the U.S. needed a way to send military equipment to Alaska in a short amount of time. This highway was built on some of the hardest terrain to build on in North America, especially through some extreme conditions in the winter. It was completed in under 9 months. Many men died and is known as the hardest job since the Panama Canal. So me and my dad had to grab a quick flick under the amazing sign, and since I got these amazing road tires now, I went over this monstrous rock. I mean, the Tiger handled it like a champ. So we got that awesome photo, and then we actually saw some pretty cool stuff today. We crossed a giant graded bridge so we could see the water from under us, and we crossed a big river. You know, that's already more exciting than yesterday. And then on one side we had all this green, and then on the other side we had all this burnt down trees. It was kind of a wild sight to see. A lot of wildfires came through here in the past couple years and this year. But do you know what was not on fire? Pun not intended. My hands. My hands were actually kind of cold. It was a little bit chillier as we headed up into the British Columbia mountains again, so I had to put on my hand warmers. Basically, everything that wasn't the highway was already dirt roads, and we're heading up there where pretty soon there will be no asphalt, so we already got a little sneak peek.
All right, we're at Boston Pizza for some lunch. I'm trying to upload my second video because I've just been getting better with editing, and I'm getting done with like 30 minutes to an hour now, and uploading is taking a while. So
once we arrived in Fort Nelson, British Columbia, we had to do some bike work, so we lubed up the chain and checked the oil, and yeah.
it is only 5:05. We're in the room for the night now. It was kind of a short day again, but the next 2 days are 480-mile days, so it should be a long day. So we're gonna chill, get some rest, and have some dinner later. And the sun doesn't set here till 10:30, so it's probably still light out at 11 o'clock here. I'll throw a little picture in that for tomorrow's video. But we'll see you guys tomorrow. It is 5:30 in the morning and there's blue skies. And when I went to bed at 11 or 10, there was still light out. I wake up and there's still light out. But apparently it did get dark for an hour or two.
And it was truly a beautiful day. Blue skies, barely any clouds until later in the day. And oh my God, bear! Oh, well, I actually missed the recording. There actually was a bear, but it came up on us too quick and I didn't record it in time. And oh my God, there's another one. I also missed it. So I got better throughout the day. But we did see some caribou. I've never seen caribou in my life, so that was pretty cool. And then, we were cruising through a provincial recreational park. It was Stone Mountain, one in Georgia, one in British Columbia. That's very cool. And you know what animal loves Stone Mountain? Big horned sheep. I've never seen these. These things are fierce. Look at these horns. Such a cool animal. My dad, he's pretty sure he's never seen one. But that was one of the highlights of my day. And we're still waiting to see a moose, but we did get to see one more caribou today. And oh my gosh, it's Uncle Richard. Oh, never mind, just a buffalo. We actually saw a lot of buffalo today, probably about like 40. But besides the point, me and my dad arrived to Liard's Hot Springs.
We're in the hot springs now. It's incredibly hot at places and incredibly cold in others. It just switches like that. Feels so nice. Definitely one of the best things we've done this trip, activity-wise.
And on one of the other sides of the hot springs, the water was a little bit murky and a little bit colder. But, it was like this path that led all the way back, maybe like 50 feet. And it was cool to explore with my pops, so. Me and my dad then turned onto this dirt road for 2 miles, which led us to Smith River Falls. It was just the falls that I randomly found off of Google Maps. And the falls themselves looked way bigger in person. Then, me and my dad arrived at the Signpost Forest located in Watson Lake, Yukon, where basically people get to bring signs from all over the world and hang them up in these forests so other people can see. And of course, I had to show my favorite signs. And this one explains himself. Wu Big Sui. In no way. Could it be? Oh my God. I recorded a bear. After it failed like 5 attempts, I finally got to show one. Actually, not even just one, but 2 bears today I got on video. I'm very happy with those recordings. They were, in my opinion, I think they're pretty good.
All right, we arrived in Teslin, Yukon. We're just gonna chill for the rest of the night. We do have dinner. I'm not gonna show that though, because this video is gonna be too full of amazing sights, and I'm only limited to 3 minutes. Good morning from Teslin, Yukon. We are heading on our bikes right now. We got a long day ahead of us. Sun never really set here, but today we go way north and ending up in Dawson City. Let's hit it.
And it wasn't long until we stopped at our very first site. We immediately passed this enormous lake and we had to stop and take a picture, and we got this awesome picture of the clouds with the mountains going right into them on the top. And we passed our first site of wildlife today. Spoiler alert, it was the only wildlife we saw today. And when you think of Yukon, Canada, you just think of this super dense forest. And what the heck? Oh, okay. Okay, Dad, I see you. I didn't know you could move like that. Alright. Ooh, busted. And then we made it to Whitefish, Yukon. We stopped at a Canadian Tire, which is an awesome store, by the way. Picked up some tools, and you'll see for what later. We said goodbye to the Alaskan Highway as we rode up more north towards Dawson City. Met some friends for lunch as they wanted a bite of my ham and Swiss.
We just had lunch in Carmax, Yukon. We're hopping back on the bikes, filled up with gas, and we should make it to Dawson City without stops now.
We then passed some 125 motorcycles. I definitely want to do one of those trips in the future. And then we passed these mile-long rows of these purple flowers that just grew next to the highway. So I grabbed a quick video of that. And then, we were just coasting through Yukon. We basically had no other stops other than lunch and gas today. We went through some more recently burned forests, and it was kind of sad to see, but nature is nature. And then we hit our first bit of construction of the day. And you thought this was a lot? Yeah, no. See, Canada, they can't do construction in the winter because it's very, cold and snowy. So they have to do all their construction during the summer, and it can get very dusty. And we're basically in the earth right now. They're basically digging a whole road next to us. We were following a pilot car for 15 minutes. I mean, it's thick and deep soil. Like, this was scary, and we were going at slow speeds too, so that's not the safest thing for a bike. And after a long and tiring day, we made it to downtown Dawson City. And the first thing we did, we used those tools that we picked up from Canadian Tire, and we worked on our bikes, especially our chains. Thank you to my dad for helping me learn how to adjust my chain. I've never learned how to, and he really helped me out. So thank you, Dad. I appreciate it. And you are looking at a mummified human toe. Yes, somehow that's a toe. Feel free to look it up for the whole story, but basically in Dawson City, it's super popular to take a Yukon Jack shot with a mummified toe in it. I don't know why. Yeah, my dad handled it like a champ, and this was his second time doing it anyways. Then we walked around downtown a little bit, checked out the river, and that's gonna wrap it up for the day.
We made it to Dawson City, Yukon. We'll see how late the sun sets tonight, if it even does. And tomorrow we start on the Dempster Highway, and we're gonna make it up to Inuvik tomorrow. And then the next day we'll be in Tuk, which is the halfway mark. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Alright, it's a long day today and a lot happened, so we just have to hop right back into it. So we head up north towards the Arctic Circle on the Dempster Highway. I top off my gas tank because this is the longest stretch without any gas stations, and we might be able to make it. It's 250 miles, we're about to find out. And we head up these mountains, and me and my dad didn't really know that there was these vast mountains up this far north, and it was almost like tundra. Like the tree line was up there around 4,000 feet, and we were going to come down to that later that day. And beautiful mountains, beautiful landscapes, and here's my favorite photo. Perfect reflection. Go like it on my dad's Facebook. And once again, it's just my favorite time of day to ride in Canada in the morning. As you can see, there's not that much dust flying. You'll see later that I basically ate my dad's dust all day, even though I held back like a couple hundred feet. The dust was just too bad. But we made it without using the bladder for gas. But then my dad realized something. He said my tire was looking a little flat. So he was right. I have a flat tire and a bent rim, and neither of those are good. We immediately found where the hole was, and we got right to work with plugging it. I've never plugged my own tire before, so it was a learning curve and a cool experience too. We plugged it, we filled it with air. There's an air pump there at the first gas station, and we hit the road, and everything was all good. I was relieved of stress, but we went to check the tire a couple times during the day just to make sure it's holding up, and it was not.
So these nice guys are helping us. Pump ties the rear tire up because it's not holding air.
And then we crossed borders into Northern Territories. At Fort McPherson, there was a tire repair shop and the next gas stop, of course. And my dad had a battery-powered air compressor, so we had to stop on the side road and fill that up a couple times. And then we had to cross my very first ferry.
We're on the ferry, filling up my tire again. Hopefully we can keep filling it. A lot of bugs. About halfway already.
My dad got a picture of me filling up the tires, and after a stress-filled couple miles, we made it to Fort McPherson. We first filled up with gas, and then we talked to the mechanic guys, and they immediately started hammering because it wasn't holding air, and we already plugged it, so that we had to thought it was coming from the rim. So they were hammering our rim, and then they filled up our tires, and then I started hearing air again. Yes, there's another flat. we had 2 flats. They hooked us up with some plug kits, and they even plugged it for us, and we really appreciate that. So we hit the road, and the tire was actually holding up this time. We then had to cross our second ferry of the day, and it was the Mackenzie River Ferry, which the Mackenzie River is actually the largest river in Canada. Cool fact. And the rest of the day, it was just super dusty. My dad didn't have that much dust, and you can see that's just dust on the outside of my visor. Imagine what the inside looks like.
We hit up Tuck tomorrow, which is the halfway mark. Just a crazy day today. We're absolutely beat. I'm gonna grab some sleep. See you guys tomorrow. Good morning from Inuvik. We're about to hit the road onto our final destination before we start heading back home. Tuktoyaktuk.
And if you guys remember from yesterday, here's a little comparison of how dusty I was compared to my dad. Look at my visor compared to his. His is literally perfectly black still, and my helmet is also black. So we topped off with gas and we headed north to Tuktoyaktuk. This is our last destination and the main goal of our trip, other than to make it home safely. And basically the scenery, we'll talk about that first, was beautiful. We were really in tundra, no trees, blue skies as far as you can see. It was a cool experience. And we finally arrived into Tuktoyaktuk. So we stopped at the sign, got a couple awesome photos. I mean, this was just a relieving weight off of our shoulders, knowing that we made it here. And we've been talking about this very place for like a whole year.
Being bit by mosquitoes, taking off pants, putting on swim trunks. We're gonna do this quick because it's crazy right now.
So after we somehow got our swim trunks on with all those mosquitoes swarming us, we started marching into the ocean. It was 0.8 degrees Celsius, which is basically freezing in Fahrenheit.
Here we go. Arctic Ocean, plunge, baby.
It was like 83 degrees while we were there, so the ocean didn't actually feel that cold, so that kind of helped us. And then we took some pics at the infamous Arctic Ocean sign.
We're at Grandma's Kitchen, which is like the place that we heard that we should go. There's food, there's souvenirs in there, but they don't open till 1:10, and it's like 12:10. There's so many mosquitoes, and it's just a little rough.
And so we checked out another souvenir shop. It was pretty small and had nothing we really wanted. We picked up some magnets, and Grandma's Kitchen never opened, so instead of hanging around, we just kind of headed back towards Inuvik. So now that we already talked about the scenery, let's talk about the road. It was done in 2017. The road was in good conditions except for bikers. The gravel is very loose. It was too much gravel. You're sliding. I almost panicked one time where I almost lost control of my bike and I almost lost it, but I didn't. But it was just a very stressful 2 hours.
We just ate at the Roost back in Inuvik. We messed up some wings, some subs, some french fries. We ate here last night too, but not many other places are open. So, oh yeah, and we downed a couple mugs and Dr. Peppers.
And that wraps it up for the day. Pretty exciting day, you know, halfway now. And now we're, for the first time, heading back south. We'll see you guys tomorrow for another 490-mile day on the same road that we came up on. Good morning from Inuvik. We are having a quick little breakfast before we hit the road today. So many mosquitoes, so I had to literally just hop on the bike and give it some gas to get them all off of me. It was frustrating and annoying, but we got away from them. It was a beautiful morning. We took a picture at the Inuvik sign. And this is at 4:30, so no one's on the roads. I'm right next to my dad, so I don't have to eat his dust. Got a cool shot of our shadows. And we rode behind a caribou for a couple miles until he got a little tired and then decided to turn off. So we're about to go through a lot of mud today if we don't beat the rain. So we left at 4:30, right? What could go wrong? We're trying to get ahead of the plan. But what we didn't look into is what time the ferries start running. Yeah, the first one's at 8:15.
All right, good news. We made it to the ferry. We're first ones in line, but we still have to wait. I already explained why we're waiting. The bugs are bad. Bugs are really bad.
And this is actually a really good visual of how bad the mosquitoes are up there. But after a quick 2 hours, me and my dad got on the ferry, took a cool little time lapse to get across the Mackenzie River, and we headed our way again until the next ferry, which we were on time for, don't worry. We also filled up for gas at one of the 2 stops today on the Dempster Highway. And then we realized the clouds were starting to get pretty thick early on in the day. So we pulled over and we put on our rain gear, and the mosquitoes were brutal there too. Here's a cool little picture of the mountains. And I felt like I was in Ireland for a second with all the clouds rolling in over the green hills. And it rained, and it was pretty muddy. First time my bike is blue in a while, on the tank at least. And this is where it got pretty stressful. I mean, we still had like 350 miles to go at this rate in loose gravel and mud, and that's just super unsafe for a bike.
We made it. Face a little muddy. Look at my visor. I can't see through it. I was basically riding like with this the whole time. Bike's absolutely painted. The road, we're trying to decide if we should stop here for the night because I do have lodging, or if we should continue. It's pouring outside. I think we are going to continue because it doesn't look like it's stopping till tomorrow morning. Plus the roads will just be way worse then, so we're gonna go for it.
And this is what we'll be riding through. All this rain in the mud and in the dirt. It was not fun. It was honestly the longest 250 miles of my life. It was super stressful, loose gravel and mud all the time, and mud is the worst on a bike. You have absolutely zero control. You see all these potholes, you have to avoid them, and sometimes you can't avoid it, and that's how I got my 2 flats. But after a while, we finally made it to the end, and I can't tell you what an accomplishment it was. It was basically the most challenging thing I've ever done mentally. It was just so relieving to be back on the pavement. Me and my dad were even talking about it later that night, and just how challenging it really was for both of us. And we were just muddy from head to toe. And that's gonna wrap it up for today's video, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Good morning from Dawson City. Changed my glasses because my other ones got absolutely trashed. Bikes look pretty trash. You can imagine the rocks that are like baked onto my pipes. It's nasty. We got an easy day. We got to clean up, freshen up, sleep in. It was a great night. And now we're hitting the road again.
And it was a great morning, for the first 20 miles. It was beautiful, good temperature, and basically my bike was overheating. If you remember from yesterday, I had tons of sediments literally cemented and baked onto my exhaust, and it was also in my radiator guard, so my bike literally couldn't breathe. It was overheating, and you can't ride on an overheated bike. So my dad grabbed our wrench to adjust our chain, and we started beating up on the radiator on the bottom so it wouldn't damage it. You can literally see the rocks fall from the logo. So we had to keep an eye on that for the rest of the day. We passed the Dempster Highway and said goodbye, but then something pretty bad happened. We went through this really muddy construction site and I dropped her. Basically, no one was working here today. It was Canada Day. On this side of the road, it looked pretty muddy, so I chose the other side of the road, and it was way more muddy. It was like soup. You could see my foot getting swallowed by that mud. Here's my tires. Basically, I have no traction. My leg was stuck under for a couple minutes. My bike scratched up. I broke my handlebars. My pannier flew off. Can't get it back on. We have to ride back home with it on my back now.
So as you guys saw the pictures, it's just super muddy here. I lost it. Shooken up right now. Lost the light. Got check engine light. Pannier ripped off. Won't be able to go back on. Important thing is we're okay, but I'm just kind of upset and scared. But we're all okay.
I'm 100% okay. I have no injuries, which is the most important thing. The bike is running, the engine's working, it has no more lights, even though I had it blinking for a little bit. But again, the main thing is that I'm okay. Everything that's broken can be fixed. When we get home, we'll figure out all the repairs that we need to do. But right now, we just have to make it to Edmonton to fix the other problems I have right now with my bike, which is my radiator. And it feels like my clutch or my front sprocket is giving out. So we got about 1,400 more miles to go to Edmonton. So let's just hope we make it there safely. And we made it back to Whitehorse as well. And this is on the Alaska Highway once again.
All right, and that's basically gonna wrap it up for the day. I'm uploading and editing some videos from the previous days because I've just been too tired or too busy. What happens, happens. We're all okay at the end. And it could have been a lot worse. So with that on our minds, let's keep it on the road and make it back safely. All right, we are finally getting this thing washed and getting that thing washed. I still have like concrete in my radiator. It is heating up, and we're gonna get these bikes a little bit more clean. Look at this.
just like that, I didn't think my bike could ever be this blue again, but here it is. It did not stay like that, let's just say. But then we quickly realized that my dad's chain had a kink in it, which was not good. So we went to Canadian Tire once again. This old gentleman helped us out, and we tightened the chain once again. Now he has a chain problem, and I had a chain problem, and I'm still on a temporary chain, but we're still heading our way to Edmonton. Notice how my windshield's bouncing a lot? The whole day I was bouncing like I was in a bouncy castle, because when I was washing my wheels, as you can see, I missed a dirt clump on my wheel, and it basically was throwing me off balance the whole rest of the day, and we'll clean that up later and figure that out. We then gassed up and ate in Teslin once again. That's where we ate and stayed last week, and I'm still struggling up hills. I'm taking the bike super easy because of my sprocket issue. It just made a lot of the day way more stressful. But then something amazing happened.
We thought it was bullshit, but it's here.
Yes, a moose. We've traveled 6,500 miles without seeing a moose. It's my favorite animal. If y'all didn't know, I've never seen one in my life, and they are massive. I mean, this is from far away, and you can already see how big it is from here. As the day continued, the clouds rolled on past us and became a lot more sunnier, and look what we have here, another bear. We actually saw 5 bears today, and I only filmed 2, but they were pretty good videos. We also passed a pretty big one, but it's one of the ones I didn't get to film. My dad noticed they're all literally right next to the road, and we think it's because all the flowers grow right next to the road, so they're really just enjoying the flowers and eating their berries. And this one was slobbering all over himself. And after we thought all the clouds were over us, we were racing the clouds into Watson Lake, and we arrived safely, having 0 slips for the day. And you know that bouncing issue? I'm fixing that now. And since it rained earlier while we were at the hotel, it was nice and easy just to scoop it up.
We made it to Watson Lake. We're just gonna chill out for the rest of the night. The next day we'll probably push for like a 600-mile day so we can make it to Edmonton a day early for our service. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Good morning from Watson Lake. We are packing up. We'll be hitting the road. Let's hope the bikes make it.
First and foremost, we both tightened our chains on our bikes because we, have to have a nice restart, and we have to, make it to Edmonton with the bikes in good condition. The morning was a little foggy. We honestly thought it was from smoke, and I thought I would smell some smoke, but we were just in really thick clouds for like a good hour or 2 of the day. And then we actually did smell a little bit of smoke, just a little, and we couldn't really see anything, but the Canada wildfires are going crazy right now. We passed some buffalo, rode on some dirt. Don't worry, no bikes were dropped this time, thank God. I was actually a little nervous, but it's dry and the dirt roads are actually in good condition finally. We then crossed back into British Columbia. It's been a week or 2, and we immediately saw another bear. Our bear counter is, I don't know, like 14 or 15 at this point, and we saw like 6 today, and I think it was 19 by the end of the day. So we've just seen way more bears than we have deer this whole trip, which is crazy from where we come from. And after the fog cleared up, it turned out to be a beautiful day. I actually got to capture some wildfires. That was the only ones we passed. Some more buffalo too, and oh my gosh, baby goats are the cutest. I don't care what anyone says, this mama was protecting the baby from running into the road. Then we rode with some Harley guys all the way down through Muncho Lake Provincial Park, and we stopped at the lodge, but they were closed. But we did get to stop at this nice lake viewpoint. The water was so clear and so green, you can really see where the water drops off. I took this picture. This is my favorite picture with the mounds in the back, and you really get to feel the clear water. And then I attempted to skip a rock, and it did not go too well, but at least I got a couple. And the rest of the day, the scenery was spectacular. We really forget how jagged these mountains are back in British Columbia, and it was just really fun. But then we got to stop for lunch.
All right, just a couple miles down the road, we found a place called Double G's. That's where we're gonna have lunch.
And look at this BLT. It's homemade bread, and the bread was super thick, and it was the best BLT I hope I will ever have. And the rest of the day was, already a road we've already done last week, but from a different perspective. Now because we're heading south, we get to see the same road, but with different viewpoints.
All right, we made it to Fort Nelson. It's our second stay at this hotel. In the past 2 days, we did 600 miles, a little bit more. And tomorrow we have like 650-mile day to make it to Edmonton. Bike slipped once today. That's once in 600 miles. We should make it. It's getting exciting. No problems today either.
Morning from Fort Nelson. We woke up at 4:30. It is now 5, and we're hopping on the bikes. Got a big day ahead of us. Let's just hope we make it with 0 conflicts.
And just like that, we're hitting the road again. Once again, it is my favorite time of day to be riding in Canada. Sun's just rising, even though it's like 5 a.m. Great temperature. Well, not this morning. This morning was freezing. I don't know why. Weatherman said it was supposed to be like 55, but it was just absolutely brisk.
All right, we're like 120 miles in, 1/6 of the way done of our day. I'm sure I just talked about it, but for the past 20 miles, it's finally warmed up. But I mean, it was like 40, 37 degrees this morning. I mean, I'm cold. But we're manning up, getting some gas, and then I'll probably grab a energy drink too.
Now after that quick gas stop and I was finally warmed up, I got to enjoy the scenery a little bit more so I could not be focusing on my freezing hands. And look what we saw here. Our third moose of the trip. Spoiler alert, this is the last moose we saw. He was just kind of standing on the edge of the woods and he just trampled right back in as soon as we passed him. If you remember me talking about these purple flowers that grew on the side of the road last week, and my dad really likes them, and now we're both obsessed with them. We stopped on the side of the road and took some cool photos. Those are definitely one of my favorite pictures that I've taken this whole trip. And this bridge looks very familiar. We only crossed it like 8 days ago. And look at my dad's tire when we were filling up at our second gas stop. It's getting down to the bar, so we need to get to Edmonton ASAP. As we went through Dawson Creek once again, we said goodbye to the Alaska Highway and we headed on to our first interstates.
All right, we stopped to eat lunch in Grand Prairie. I got a poke bowl, and I got some sushi and some salad.
Also, I'm sorry, but I had to include this in the video. There were TVs in the urinals. Also, if you remember from last week, we passed this giant beaver sculpture, so I had to get a video once again. We also passed a car that was stuck on the railroad tracks. Don't know how that happened, and I don't know how they're gonna get out, but they better move soon. And if there's one word to describe the rest of the day, I'd say pretty flat, because there wasn't much out here. We gassed up one more time so we could make it all the way to Edmonton, and throughout 1,700 miles of stressful clutch slipping, we had a well-deserved dinner in Edmonton, and we should all be set up for our appointments tomorrow. And at night, me and my dad jumped in the hot tub, and we just chilled out for the rest of the night.
And that's wrap it up for the day. We just came back from the hot tub, and tomorrow we basically get our bikes fixed, and we also find out if we need to stay here for a couple more days to get new parts in, so we are able to make it back home. So tomorrow should be interesting, and it's not really a riding day, so we'll see you guys tomorrow for tomorrow's vlog.
Good morning from Edmonton. Today's the day. We're going to the motorsports store. We're both getting new chains. I'm getting a new chain and sprocket, and we're gonna figure out what's wrong with my clutch.
And we had to start off the morning with the breakfast that came with our hotel stay. And the breakfast was really good. We then headed to Argyle Motorsports, long time no see. We were here probably 8 days ago by now. And man, let me tell you the relief I had when I put that bike in park.
It's now been 4 hours. I've basically gotten no updates. So we're still waiting, but I'm gonna go check out some cool bikes. Got the Ninja H2R, fastest bike in the world. Look at that thing, man. So nice. All right, update on bikes. We got the new tires on. Got new chain, new sprockets, oil change. Clutch is bad. We're not gonna sit around waiting in Edmonton for a couple days for a new one. We're just gonna continue with our ride, and if anything happens, we can stop at a dealer and on the way home and plan it out a little bit more in advance. But for now, we're just gonna start heading home.
So we were probably waiting there for 7 hours, and I mean that place is only open for like 9 or 10 hours, so we were basically there the whole day. Got to know some of the people that worked there. Everyone was super nice. Got my quad lock on my phone again, so I can now have my phone up on my handlebars. That's what I'm showing there. And then we headed right back to the Edmonton West Mall.
All right, we're back in the West Edmonton Mall. We're going to the Apple store once again to try to get a trade-in value for this phone because it wouldn't turn on last time, and now it is.
So we had to get a photo of both the phones in my hand before we hopefully lose one of them. And just like that, we did get a couple $100 back for my busted iPhone 11. And we were even debating not even coming back to the mall, but we're definitely happy we did because lunch was basically paid for, right? So we got mac and cheese balls, and this was the best buffalo chicken sandwich I think I will ever have in my life. Hands down, it was just so good. And this sports bar was just a really cool place. upstairs bathroom. You just got a really nice vibe. Just to refresh in y'all's head, this is the mall that has the water park and the surfing area and the ice rink, of course, but the ice rink was being used today for a little kids tournament.
We're leaving the mall. We just watched little kids play hockey. It's a cool little 9-year-old tournament they do here. They've been doing it since like 1990. And those kids will forever be better than me at ice skates, even at age 9. Well. We're in the nicest Canadian Tire there probably is. It's massive. I was trying to find Threadlock for his broken X3 mount.
And we never went in downtown Edmonton, but you could see the buildings there. I tried to get the best shot I could.
I'm having myself a beer because I'm legal here. And it's Wine Wednesday.
And here's the crazy mileage for this vlog for the day. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
We're from Edmonton. They were leaving. We're taking some extra time. My dad needs some eye drops for his eye. It's getting red and it's irritating him. And we plan to make it to Regina, Saskatchewan today.
And here's my reaction of finding my glasses after I thought I lost them for like 20 minutes. But at least I have them back. So we went to Rexall and my dad got some ointment for his eye so it can feel a little better. And then after that, we hit the highway for most of the day. Pretty flat. We said goodbye to downtown Edmonton. And it wasn't long until we pulled into Lloydminster, which is where we're going to have lunch for the day. And we had to stop in A&W before we leave Canada. That and Tim Hortons, but Tim Hortons is yet to come.
So coming from the States, A&W is just the root beer. But no, it's A&W restaurants here with the root beer. And the root beer is 10 times better. We got some burgers coming up.
And A&W was really good, I'm gonna be honest. The burger was really solid. It's kind of a mix between Dairy Queen and a Wendy's in my opinion. After that, we then emptied out the rest of the gas bladder that we never needed. And the rest of the day, we basically were passing tons and tons of fields of canola plants. And they were so yellow, camera doesn't really capture it. But we had to take some awesome photos. So here's the bike, even with the broken pannier, still looks awesome. Here's the camera kind of gets the feel for how yellow the field actually is. And then me and my dad took some pictures of standing in the field. Here's some with my hands up and me turning away. Just kind of get that depth effect, you know what I'm saying? And then my dad also taught me what these giant silos were for. Trains basically come over here and dump tons of grains in them and then they transport it from there. I never knew it and I was just curious, so he taught me that. And I also put it at the end of the video, but I did forget to mention how many miles we did yesterday. We did 668 miles yesterday, so that was our biggest day of the trip. But anyway, back to the video. We went through Saskatoon, which is the second biggest city in Saskatchewan, and I hit 24,000 miles on my bike, and that's not nothing. Then as the sun was setting, we finally made it to Regina, Saskatchewan, which is the capital.
All right, made it to Regina. We're just gonna chill for the rest of the night. Have some videos to catch up on. I'm gonna start working on those. So I'm just gonna say bye for now and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Sorry, God. Good morning from Regina. Packing up the bikes. We got to sleep in a little, and we're gonna hit up Winnipeg tonight, and then we'll probably be in the United States tomorrow. And let's hit it.
I don't think I really gave an update of the damages from my bike from my accident the other day. So basically, I have really bad scratched up panels, including my engine and my engine guard. At least the engine guard did hold up. Of course, the pannier is broken off and it's on my seat, broken hand guard, but that's okay because all those parts can be replaced. And from there, we just started heading southeast. Flatlands, you know, nothing too exciting. And before we knew it, it was already lunchtime. So we stopped at this family-owned restaurant and every car was pulling into this parking lot.
Reading at Red Barn in what's it called? Moosomin.
Really good.
Reading at Red Bar in Moosomin. There's some weird names in Saskatchewan. I got a double burger. My dad got some chicken. We're gonna mess it up.
And for a family-owned restaurant, that place was popping. I'm surprised that they didn't have other locations other than that one. But we just continued on with our day. Beautiful scenery, yeah, it's a little flat, but we couldn't ask for better weather these past couple days. And on the other hand, we started to pass some more corn, and that's the first time we've seen corn growing in Canada. And as we inch closer and closer to Winnipeg, which will be our destination for the night, I also hit 0 miles left until I need to have my 10,000 mile service on my bike. And basically I'll have that wrench on my screen until we get home and I get that service. That kind of sucks, but it is what it is. We drove through Saskatoon, we gassed up and fueled up with a drink. And then about an hour and a half later, we finally made it to Winnipeg. There's downtown from afar. The GoPro doesn't have that great of a zoom. And here's downtown up close because my dad ordered us an Uber because he wanted to surprise me with a really nice steak dinner, which, as some of the rural parts we've been into recently, this was definitely a treat. Had myself a drink, I'm still legal here, and had pretty much the best steak I think I've ever had. Bone-in, 14-ounce New York strip, 10 out of 10. And here's a picture of my dad's 6-ounce filet. And of course, we had to get dessert. My dad had a banana Foster, and they cooked it up right in front of us, and it was delicious. I had a little bite, came with some ice cream as well. I'll throw up a picture right here. And I got myself a chocolate bourbon cake, also came with ice cream on the side. 10 out of 10. This was really a treat. I really do appreciate that. Thank you.
And we're back in the hotel. I'm absolutely stuffed. That was one of the greatest dinners I've probably ever had. It was so good. I'm not even a steak guy, but I might become one now. I'm gonna work on the video for the rest of the night, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Good morning from Winnipeg. We both overslept as this room was completely pitch black. It's about 9:30. We're about to hit the road, and today we're headed for the States. Well, just a little part of it.
And to give you guys a better idea of where we will be staying tonight, it's this little piece of land that's not even connected to the United States. The only way to get there is by boat or through Canada, in which we're already in Canada, so pretty easy for us. And it's called an exclave, and there's only like 4 in the United States, so it's pretty cool that we'll be staying in one tonight. Not just any one, but the most northern point of the contiguous United States, which we'll see that marker in a little bit. But as we left from Winnipeg, you know, a lot of trees just popped up out of nowhere. We went through a bunch of farmland this past couple days, and it finally felt like we were back in the woods. Also, as we turned off the Trans-Canada Highway, we were greeted with some well-welcomed dirt. Super dusty, dirt was a little loose, nothing that bad though compared to what we've gone through this trip. Didn't drop the bike, and we finally saw our first sign for the Northwest Angle, which is where we'll be staying tonight. And we crossed into the United States, and this was no ordinary border crossing. We had to report to a little station later that day to get signed in, and we did it on like an iPad, but I'll show you guys that in a little bit too. And after exploring 90% of the roads up here, we turned the corner, and there it was, the point that we were going to be talking about.
All right, we made it to the northern point of the contiguous USA.
And this point is basically the opposite of the Key West point.
All right, and this is our cabin for the night. We got the bikes parked out here, and I'm gonna give you guys a little tour. Nice screen and porch, nice view of the lake. We got the living room, got a nice freezer, fridge, stove, bathroom. And I know it's crazy, but we have separate rooms tonight. I'm gonna miss Dad so much.
And after we settled in, me and my dad grabbed a couple snacks, and we just chilled out for a little bit, watched the birds, and man, it was good to see this flag again.
All right, we're back in the cabin. We're gonna just chill out for like 2 hours. I just uploaded day 22, and then we're gonna go get some dinner, and then we'll probably wrap it up for the day.
And chill out, I did.
There's not really an official border crossing here, but it says on signs if you cross into the United States, you're required to go log it. So we're gonna talk to someone on the phone, on an iPad.
Yep.
And basically I had to put in all this broad information about yourself, and they basically wait to approve you, and stupidly they let me back in. After that, we had some dinner, and then we also made some makeshift s'mores at home.
Smile for the camera. Our makeshift s'mores.
And that's gonna wrap it up for the day, guys, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Morning from Angle Inlet. Don't mind my hair. We're checking out of the United States to go back into Canada, but we'll be going back to the United States in a little bit.
So for the US, we use an iPad, and for Canada, we use an actual phone. We tell them our passport ID and your name and where you're coming from, and they say, okay, you're good. And then we basically hopped on our bikes and we hit the road today. And thank God that it rained last night just for a little bit. So it was just enough rain to dampen the dirt so it wouldn't be flying up in my face on the US side. We crossed back into Manitoba, into Canada, and I spoke too soon. I guess it didn't rain enough for there not to be dust on the side of Manitoba, but it got pretty dusty. But don't have to worry about it because it was paved roads just a little bit after that. We then arrived to the United States Border Customs. They let me through back into my home country. And that's the last border crossing that will really be a big deal. The rest of it's just states now. But we did see this awesome sign on the side of the road. I had to grab a picture because I just don't see this every day.
Look at the map.
We just filled up and we're eating in North Home, Minnesota, back in the States. We got a bacon mushroom cheesesteak and some wings and fries. And we're gonna split it all.
And after a really good lunch, we hit the road again. And now that we're in Minnesota, you know what they say about Minnesota? It's the land of 10,000 lakes, and I'm pretty sure there's more than that. We probably passed around like 30, so I'm still looking to see the other 9,970, but always gotta save something for next time. And before we knew it, we were already in Duluth, Minnesota, and we were crossing the bridge that led us straight to Wisconsin, and I finally got my first glimpse of the Great Lakes. And up first, we have the biggest one of all, of course, Lake Superior. And I didn't know it was windy basically all around the lakes. I guess that's why they call it the Windy City in Chicago.
Alright, we're at Lake Superior. And we decided that we're gonna go jump in. Super rough. We don't know, it's not really the lake to swim in, but we heard there's a little beach area and we're gonna jump in it. It can't be colder than the Arctic though.
And I'm gonna be honest, it felt colder than the Arctic. But we checked, it was only like 42 degrees, so it was like 12 degrees warmer than the Arctic. But I was being too scared. And my dad just went right in and he started bullying me because I was being too scared. So he started splashing water on me, and I asked him if he could just go in with me, you know, like father, like son. And so we both did it, and it was super great. And we were only in for like a second because it was pretty cold, but we got an awesome selfie too.
Got a nice little sunset here. We just ate dinner and we're headed back. Gonna add some videos and then hit the hay. Got a decently long day tomorrow. We're gonna try to plan some scenic stops and we'll make it to Mackinac City.
Good morning from Washburn. We're hopping on the bikes right now. The lake looks pretty calm compared to yesterday. And today we head through all of the UP, Michigan. Then we're gonna end up in Mackinac City. Let's hit it.
We kicked at the kickstands and the day was off, and it was a beautiful day. At first, the sun was out, we started heading into some clouds, and the rest of the day was basically all in clouds until the very end. But after a couple miles in Wisconsin, we then crossed the border into Michigan, another new state for me.
All right, we stopped for a little snack. They're called Passies. It's like a meat pastry, and we'll let you guys know how it is.
And they were sold out of every other flavor other than like the traditional one. And honestly, I don't know if I'd get it again unless it's another flavor, just because it was kind of dry and just not my thing. But it's a Yooper thing up here, so at least we tried it. As the sun was starting to peek through the clouds, we finally met up with the coast again, but this time with Lake Michigan, not Superior. We then were gonna cross the Mackinac Bridge, and we paid the toll, and we were also greeted with Lake Huron on the left and Michigan still being on our right. And let me tell you, this bridge was 5 miles long, land to land, and it was so windy. And you can just see the wind moving my bike for all of the 5 miles. Shortly after we crossed the bridge, we quickly dropped off our stuff at the hotel, and we had enough time to make it to Mackinac Island today. We were planning on doing it tomorrow, but we decided to go today. And for reference, this is where Mackinac Island is. It's a super touristy place with 0 cars. You get everywhere on bikes or on a horse, or you walk. And so me and my dad waited in line for the ferry. And we could not ask for a better day for this ferry ride. Again, blue skies, the wind wasn't even that crazy on the ferry, and it was a nice 15-minute ride straight to the island. And we also planned to just shop a little, eat some dinner, and just look around. So honestly, I'm just gonna play some of the photos and videos that we have with some music in the background, and you guys enjoy the scenery of Mackinac Island. Also, just to show you guys, this is literally how Amazon packages were being delivered.
We're waiting for the ferry now, and we're gonna wrap it up because we're not really gonna do anything else for the rest of the night other than edit videos. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Good morning from Mackinac City. We are packing up and we are headed for a very nice scenic day that my dad has planned out for us. And we don't have a destination for the night. We're just gonna see how far we get and enjoy the day. It's beautiful. And it did indeed rain last night, but it was absolutely beautiful in the morning. Not a single cloud basically we saw all day. And my dad planned out this awesome route, as I said. At first was Sturgeon Bay Dunes, and these are them right here. It's more of just like a drive-by, just kind of see it type of thing. No one on dirt bikes or anything on these dunes. It's a little small for that. But we continued with our ride, and we made it to the Tunnel of Trees. It was on M22, which is along the Michigan West Coast. We'll basically be against that all day. And basically, it wasn't really that much of a tunnel of a tree. Honestly, there's just a bunch of really nice houses right on the coast, but that's okay. The rest of the day, we just rode through a bunch of little towns, such as Harbor Springs, Traverse City, Petoskey, Bay Shore, and Charlevoix, which is where we had lunch today. Basically, like tourist towns again, super cute, a lot of gift shops, and really nice beaches there too. We then made it to Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore. Basically, there's a bunch of pull-offs for views of the lakes and these awesome sand dunes that are about 440 feet tall. We weren't on the climbing side, but we could see it from the top. But we only saw the dunes because we had another lake lookout later today. But my dad was talking about sweet cherries the whole trip, and he wanted to buy some. And honestly, I was never really a cherry fan until later tonight when we ate like half the basket. And man, cherries are just so good, and these were grown fresh here, so really special. Made it to Arcadia Viewpoint. Scenic lookout. I still can't believe this is a lake. I've never seen a Great Lake. I mean, it just literally looks like an ocean. There's no end. And these next two pictures literally just look like pictures from the Pacific Coast.
It's right here called Old Faithful. It's a spring that's been like this for 80 years. Crystal clear, cold water, and it's safe to drink. So I'm gonna.
There's no sign labeling it. We just found it off of TikTok and it was safe to drink. My dad tells me Lake Superior is basically like the coldest of the lakes. So before we leave the coast, I want to feel Lake Michigan. See if it actually is warmer. It had to be twice as warm as Superior. It was like a nice tropical beach. We then arrived at our hotel in Saugatuck, Michigan. And then me and my dad had a great dinner right on the harbor in Saugatuck, and that's it. That's gonna wrap it up for the day. Me and my dad are watching the All-Star game right now, and I'm working on some videos, and we're trying to see if we can make it in Atlanta tomorrow or take it 2 days. We'll see how we feel and what we're up for. Good morning from Saugatuck. I accidentally set my alarm for 5 and not 6, but it doesn't matter, the earlier the better. We're not used to it being this dark at this hour, but we're still gonna hit the road, and I like riding in the morning anyway, so let's hit it. And by the way, this is like one of the first times this whole trip that we've ever ridden in the dark, because everywhere up north was bright like 24/7. But we hit the road and it was like almost scarily dark by all the woods. But after going to the highway, it's starting to brighten up a little. We couldn't catch the sunrise, there's too many clouds. And that's on another note. All the clouds, yeah, we didn't check the radar because we were just not smart like that, I guess, near the end of the trip. And it was gonna rain in front of us into Indiana. So we pulled over, we put in our rain gear, and we hit the highway, probably an hour in the rain. You know, nothing we haven't done on this trip. Pretty cold, the sun feels really good now. It's warming up, but we're also gonna be cold with this, but feel more energized. And as we passed Indianapolis, there was a lot of traffic going the other way, and we were so thankful we did not have to sit in that heat. We just barely went into Ohio, then Kentucky, and we had to have Canes in Lexington. And then we crossed into Tennessee, and now we're only one state away. Hopefully at the last stop before we get home, we're refueling, and we're taking a little break. Last stretch. And this was our last hour and a half on the bikes of this trip, and man, it just did not feel real to finally pull into our driveway.
Yes, sir! Yes, sir!
And just like that, home safe and sound.
And hello from Roswell, Georgia. I'm about to clean up my bike. It's the day after we just got home. It's filthy, and now I'm just gonna wash my bike and get ready to order some repairs. This trip has been truly amazing. It's not even a trip, it's really an expedition or an adventure, and me and my dad always talk about it when we get home. You look at this piece of plastic and metal and stuff, you think this thing just literally took me to the Arctic Ocean, and now I'm freaking home. Like it. I truly understand not every father and son can get opportunities like this, but I'm so grateful, and I really do appreciate and understand what me and my dad just did, and those are memories forever. Thank you, Dad. I'm just so happy we made it safely, and I hope you guys enjoyed the videos. They were a lot, but thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys later.